1, 2, 3, 4. Fields of green and yellow, blossom pink and white, warm scents on the breeze, but I still lie awake at night. What I would give right now to hop onto my bike, whiz down to your garden for a beer, a laugh, a bite. My longing heart is battered from the tears that tear and tatters. Surely now what matters is how I plan to move on. For now I'll tramp the landscape through for a lost soul. Pray that in the morning I'll wake less alone. Now I've met some comrades, I've passed the time with banjo, brass, guitar and voice, violin and wine. And I've met some hostile, less than friendly folk, but every once in a while you'll visit me, I hope. Now this is not my home yet. Haven't found the place. I find myself still searching for that warm and tender space. Though there is much I cherish and folk that I held dear, well, I miss my rainbow family, my gorgeous tribe so queer. So from now I'll tramp the landscape, food for a lost soul, and pray that in the morning I'll wake less alone. But now I'll tramp the landscape, food for a lost soul, and pray that in the morning I'll wake less alone. I'll wake less alone. I'll wake less alone.
Hello and welcome to the Bristol's Local Artists podcast. This is episode 3 and I'm here in Stroud with Dryadic. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
First things first, what are your names? Let's go through that.
I am George. I play the double bass.
I'm Zora. I sing, songwrite, guitar, keys, stuff.
I'm Ali and I fiddle.
So you play more folky instruments, which is exciting. We'll first go into sort of bits about you as individuals. So when did you all start playing music?
As in music. Yeah.
When did you start learning? What's
Learning.
What's your stories?
On and off since I was probably about 9, I think. Started with the piano, which didn't last. Moved on to saxophone, that didn't last. And then picked up the bass when I was 14 after a bit of a break off playing anything. And that sort of stuck somehow.
Yeah. So was it always double bass, or did you...
No, it was electric bass. Double bass only happened about 10 years ago. Just through people asking me, do you play double bass? I thought, well, I better get double bass because people keep asking.
It's worked out because you're now playing it in a band. So
Never been busier.
yeah, so you sing and play guitar.
Yeah, and piano. So I've been songwriting since I was a kid, and the piano was my first instrument. I learned guitar when I was 20, and was getting into like busking and playing out and sort of doing that more. It's only really been the last few years that not that I started playing keys again, but that I started really like songwriting with them and taking them out gigging. So that's been a bit of a development. But yeah, I've sung and played all my life really. And like I say, started writing well-structured pop songs at about the age of 10 on my Casio keyboard.
Okay.
Casio, yeah, keyboard. I was sat down at a piano at the age of 4 by my grandmother, who was a piano teacher. So I was taught by her for the first few years of my life. But I remember being at school and we were sat down on the carpet and somebody came in and demonstrated a violin and a cello. And it was like, I went home and I remember sitting at the kitchen table, I must have been about 5 or 6 at the time, and telling my parents that I wanted to play the violin. And so the rest is history. So yes, I've been fiddling since I was 6.
Okay.
Or on the fiddle, depending on what way you look at it.
I used to play violin, so that's it's an instrument close to my heart.
Yeah, it's my favourite instrument actually, even though I don't play it. I can just about play Row, Row, Row Your Boat extremely well, as Ali will tell you.
You can hold a bow extremely
I can
well.
hold a bow very well. My love for the fiddle comes from my uncle, who used to play it acoustically on my grand's porch when I was little, and I used to sit and listen to that. And I used to sit at the top of the stairs and listen to my mum play piano when I was supposed to be asleep.
If she's playing piano, are you really supposed to be asleep?
Oh, this is beautiful classical stuff.
Oh.
So yeah, I used to sit there and suck my thumb at the top of the stairs and listen to it. So I find those particular pieces, if I ever hear them, I find them really soothing.
Oh, I've got a song like that my mum used to play. It was a rag. It was... I can't remember the name of the song, but it's...
Maple Leaf, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Maple Leaf.
Hey.
I can sort of play that.
I remember playing it and I'll just be in bed waiting, just like you said.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
It's those memories that stick with you. So you're in the band Dryadic. So how did you form the band? Where did the name come from?
So I started Dryadic in 2017 back in Brighton. It was a duo with Joanna, who played fiddle. She played fiddle with me for many years. And then we recorded the No Time Like the Present EP. Literally, we finished mixing it in Brighton Road Studios at 11:30 p.m. on the night of the first lockdown. So I had to, with this final mix, I had to race home and get in at like 3 minutes to midnight for the first lockdown. And so then over lockdown, obviously we weren't really able to release that in the same way and stuff. And then we sort of split up and I moved away from Brighton in lockdown. So here it's been like the last couple of years really that I was playing solo for a while, and then I started putting Dryadic back together again. And first of all, started playing with Ali, and then George joined us. I think we said the
Not
other.
that much later.
No, I turned up at a gig. It was about a year ago.
It was,
Point.
yeah, we
I
had like
turned
the
up-
anniversary, didn't we?
Isn't it?
Yes.
So-
Turned up at the gig, and Ali just grabbed me over and said, "Oh, you've got to come and speak to Zora." I'm like, "Yeah, do I? Okay." I knew better than to say no. And joined shortly after that, basically.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because it's like I say, it's been going since 2017, but it's definitely sort of had to restart again in the last year and a half in the southwest.
We've only played as a trio really for the last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay, and so the songs that you wrote before, presumably you brought them with you?
Absolutely. So I had a band before Dryadic, which Joe used to play with me in. And so all of my songs, they always come with me through my bands, and we're always sort of like writing new ones. And but yeah, you know, they're all my songs, and they will always stay with me, whatever kind of project I'm on.
Yeah, I think that's important. There's some bands where they stop, and you don't hear any of their previous stuff.
Yeah.
Even bands where they write something and then all of their fans are like, play that song from it, and they're just like, no.
That's
everybody has one of those songs
Yeah.
that are in demand by the audience, but the band's had enough of it.
Yeah, I might have one of them.
Famous
It's all right.
Smells like
Smoke on the Water, or
Smells
yeah,
like Teen Spirit,
yeah.
Nirvana, and
Oh God, how could you get sick of playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
No.
Oh my God, I
because
love
you
that.
wrote it and everyone begs for it.
Try writing it and playing it over and over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's like, but you know, like I say, I was playing solo for a while after lockdown and after moving and stuff. So I think they are songs that can be played in many different formats. But they are also, like, even though I don't play fiddle, I write pretty fiddle-led songs. Like, I always have that in mind. So I do always like to have a fiddle player in whatever project I'm doing. And double-bassist, always double-bassist.
So when you're writing the songs, do you write all the parts, or do you take do you each write your own parts?
It varies, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
mostly I will write fairly completed songs. Sometimes I will have a fiddle tag or an idea or a breakdown idea for the bass or whatever in mind.
And then
When
you
it
play
comes
that.
to the tags and I suppose the arrangements, we kind of work through those together.
Yeah.
Bring ideas to the table. So Smiling in the Dark, the fiddle tag
Yeah,
is mine.
yeah,
So but other fiddle tags I've had to learn because they existed before I joined. So
Okay, so there's some bits which you've got an idea in your head and you say, can you make this happen?
Yeah.
And there's other bits where you're like, I don't know how I want this to sound.
yeah. Yeah, well, definitely I will write the songs, but
It's-
then as a band we will put layers together.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so it kind of, like I say, so it kind of varies. It's like some songs.
And everyone plays an instrument slightly differently as well. So.
Yeah.
And there've been instances where we've been taking songs to a studio, and in fact, there have been significant portions have changed in the rehearsing and sort of pre-production of the songs before recording them.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though there were complete songs that we played out live before, something then significantly can change just through playing over them over and over again.
and that's partly because you're thinking about how they will come out on recordings. So I think sometimes when you're taking something out live, when you play a song live, it's gone. Well, except you always get people these days,
Well,
but these, when you play something live, sort of essentially it's out there, it's been played, it's been performed. When you're recording, it's a completely different ballgame because that's there forever.
And it's really it's like a really detailed process,
Yeah.
isn't it?
You sort of
Which-
look at it forensically.
Which I super love
Mm.
doing the detailed forensics in the studio, but I think we all do actually as
Yeah.
a band, so that works really nicely.
Yeah.
We got some really great
recordings ready to come out.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about it.
Do you want to say a bit about those?
What
you
can we
got?
say?
They're amazing. And we have
When
so
can we
the
expect
next
to find them? Where can we find them?
so the next single will be May. It was going to be this month. There's been a few delays to it, but yeah. So next month there'll be another single, and then a few songs going towards the end of the year, and at the end of the year we'll be then putting an album together, and so. That is hopefully February 26th. The full album will go out, and we'll do a tour to go with it.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to that, and make sure that we know so we can share that.
Not forgetting the 2 singles that have already been released.
True.
Yeah.
So so you can go find those right now.
Yeah.
What are those called?
So Rainbow Family, one of the songs that we played for you today, that came out in February. That was the song that BBC Introducing played, which was really lovely. Mm-hmm. And the one before that was Smiling in the Dark, which we haven't played today. You can find them on sort of all the usual places, really. Spotify, Apple, Bandcamp. We've got a website, Dryadic.com. You can find us on Instagram and
Presumably, if you go through the
Facebook.
website, you'll be able to find all the other links there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So they're all there, and particularly Smiling in the Dark and Rainbow Family have got a couple of wicked videos on YouTube as well. So check them out.
Here's a question that I love asking artists, and they always look at me like I don't know how to answer. How would you describe your music?
Classic.
I don't mind answering that now because having to do lots of promo stuff and that, you have to really think about it. So it falls into the indie folk, alt folk category for sure. So there's a lot of trad folk influences in it. There's quite a lot of roots influences in it. So there's kind of like a bit of klezmer, a bit of ska, a little bit of those kind of offbeat, rootsy influences there. And then, especially with some of the piano stuff, there's quite a lot of pop in there as well. So we often say folk roots pop.
Yeah, right.
But I do also...
you can obviously tell it's folk, but you also I'm getting other kind of more modern-y type stuff in that as well.
I mean, it's definitely contemporary, and I mean, there's elements of rock in some of it, and all sorts. But I think that even though it's fairly broad spectrum sounding, it definitely all sounds like us when you listen to it, which is nice.
Cool. And so, who would you say your influences are? You've obviously quite a folky group. Do you have folk influences, or is it mainly the sort of pop influences? But you've got your folk as a.
So we often list our sort of like main influences, like sort of similar sounds as Levellers, Grace Petrie. Bit of Florence and the Machine. These are probably quite personal influences to me as a songwriter, so they're a little bit different for the other guy.
Mine are not particularly relevant to the genre at all.
What genre would you normally listen to?
Oh god, I listen to quite a lot of heavy stuff, to be honest. So Rage Against the Machine was a big influence on me, sort of starting to learn bass. But I also enjoy things like Slipknot and stuff. AC/DC is actually where I started off my bass playing. So it was very, very sort of rock grounded, and then sort of a bit more grunge, Nirvanas and things like that, all sort of shaped my playing. But that was all electric bass. So double bass, it was just like going into playing country straight away, and I didn't really listen to much country, so I just sort of guessed, and that's oh god. It was not a planned thing or really an influence thing as such. It was very much just, I'm doing it now, so here we go.
Well, theoretically, if you know how to play an instrument, then you know how to play music. You know how to play music, and the genre. A lot of the time, I think that the genre is sort of dictated a bit by what instruments you're bringing to the table, rather than sort of style of play. The style of play does have an influence on it as well.
Very much so with me. followed certain fiddle players.
Yeah.
So a chap called Peter Knight, who was Steel Eye Span's fiddle player for many years, he now plays with a band called Gig Spanner and is thoroughly enjoying doing so. But I attended a few master classes of his some years ago, and he's an incredible fiddle player. So, you know, and then sort of going back further, the likes of Stefan Grappelli, playing around with a little bit of jazz fiddle. I mean, fiddle really suits the jazz genre.
Oh, jazz fiddle
Really, yeah,
It's
I love
really,
it.
really interesting and jaunty. And
Hard work though. It's quite. You know, I listen to the likes of Grappelli, and it's like, oh, shall I just put my fiddle back in the case now? Because
but I love that you were talking about inspiration.
I think like adding an instrument that you wouldn't normally expect to find, that's what makes an interesting piece.
yeah. Yes, I've done reggae fiddle before now, which is quite challenging.
That I want to hear.
But I mean, it's interesting because you ask about like influences and stuff, and like you know, Rage Against the Machine was a massive influence, same as Nirvana, but it doesn't. It's quite limited in how it might inform the music that I make. But my influences and my inspirations very broad. Like, I'm a massive fan of all the 80s pop. Oh my god! I honestly don't like. There was an article that was written a couple of years back about Dryadic, and they're like loads of the influences they're talking about is like Wham and Madonna and all of this. It's like, yeah, I absolutely adore them, but I'm not really sure that that's what comes through in the music
Well,
I'm
you do a
making.
good Elton John.
I do a good Elton John. I love Elton. There's another influence.
The very first single I bought as a teenager was a Wham single.
Yeah, that was my first. I remember getting the Wham cassette for my 5th Christmas present from my auntie. Bad Boys. Oh my god, I love that album. Oh dear, let's move on.
There we are.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about you playing live. Do you have any gigs lined up?
We should have prepped this bit, shouldn't we?
Oh, I should have thought about that.
Yes, we do.
Ledbury.
We
The
have
next one.
Ledbury next Friday night, so we do. I do quite a lot of collabs with poets, and I run a night called Hot Flush, which is a poetry mix up with music. And so next Friday we are doing a poetry night called Diversion at Ledbury Poetry House in Ledbury in Herefordshire, and so that is now starting to bring music in as well, and that's so that's going to be great. Ledbury Poetry House is cool, really cool venue.
So that's Friday. Do you know the date on that one?
Friday the 25th of April.
Brilliant.
And then after that, weekend after that, we are down in Bridport at the Boatmakers, which is one of our favourite places for music. Brilliant music pub. And then we're at the Magic Teapot Festival.
I'm
the
looking
night
forward
on.
to that one.
Yeah, that's going to be very cool. Very cool Glastonbury-based acoustic festival, completely unplugged. So if you're into acoustic music, check that out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then, like, to go forward with more gigs from that, I would say check out our Bands in Town page. But we are playing Toll Puddle this year, which is a very cool gig to get. Yes, really looking forward to that.
And what can we expect from you guys at a gig? That's another question I like.
Well, often there's a bit of dancing around the audience while playing instruments, including the double bass. So look out for that. That's loads of fun when George launches himself off the stage.
We jumped off the stage last time because it was low
Holding
enough.
the drum double.
Yeah, with
Yes.
the double bass.
Over the shoulder, playing it like a
Do-si-do
guitar, essentially.
with the strings.
Yes.
Okay, that's something.
Yeah, to the audience. It's great fun.
First time I
I'm
did
a little
that.
bit more attached to the stage because I've got the microphone and the stomp box as well. But
The first time we did that, we didn't warn you, did we?
no, I did not know what was going on. I thought George was ill and had to leave the stage halfway through the song.
Ran off the
Honestly, I was
stage.
like,
With the bass.
oh my god.
And of course, I followed you out as well,
Yeah.
so Zora was left on the stage on her own.
We had Stevie on stage with us,
Oh, we
and I
did,
just
we
remember
did.
looking around at Stevie and just like making eyes at him, like,
Just
going
continuing.
on?
what is going on? Stevie knew what was going on because he played
He'd
with you
seen it
elsewhere.
before, yeah.
You hear stories about even some of the big bands at major festivals where they'll be playing, and then someone does something that they weren't choreographed to do it, and the rest of the band's just there playing. Like,
What's going
keep
on?
playing.
Should we keep playing? I suppose we should keep playing.
just keep playing. Just support the
Blues
support
Brothers.
bar.
But you know, also to answer that question seriously as well, I think that we often play quite an eclectic set. So we'll move from playing piano numbers to kind of like those kind of upbeat, protesty ones where you guys are off the stage, to those kind of gentle trad folk ones. And I think, you know, there's a lot of emotion in it, and there's a lot of connection with the audience. So I definitely think it's fair to say people can expect you know, like a good show, you know, and like a real journey through the songs.
Well, I think even just having instruments that people don't expect to see normally, I think that goes quite a long way for a live show to make it a bit interesting. And yeah, I want to come and see you jump off the stage.
As long as
I like my little dances with George. They're great fun.
Okay, the next question is about support acts. Do you ever have support acts? What kind of bands do you like to have supporting you, or do you like to support bands? Is there anyone?
We love to support other bands. If you want us to support you, come and ask. We would love to do that. I'm just trying to think. So we have a September gig here in Stroud coming up at the Prince Albert, and I have a good friend of mine, Paul Diello, coming up from Brighton with his duo, I think, Under the Ivy, to come and support us. He's got a beautiful voice, and that's going to be really lovely. I've played with him quite a lot over the years, but to have him come to Stroud and do that would be lovely. Like, we really like playing with other musicians, so we do quite a lot of gigs where it might just be us. But if we get the opportunity to play with other people on the bill, whether it's supporting them alongside them or them supporting us, it's always a joy, to be honest.
Brilliant. Yeah, I agree. Like, as a musician, you just want to play with more people, see how you vibe, and
yeah.
gives
And you
a
get
good
the opportunity to watch them as well, and you know, to
learn some things. Yeah, brilliant. Okie dokie. And where do you normally work? Where do your tickets normally? Where are they normally available? Where can we find those for your gigs coming up? Or are they?
So they might be in slightly different places due to like different promoters and stuff. But I will always add the ticket links to bands in town.
Yeah.
So I'll regularly update bands in town, and there'll always be a ticket link on there if it's relevant.
Brilliant. Cool. I think that's about everything that I have on the list of questions. You'll be glad to know your interrogation is over. But so I'd like to just quickly thank you guys for having me around at your studio in Stroud. It's been fun watching you play and stuff like that. And yeah, I hope to get along to one of your gigs.
I really look forward to having you. Thank you so much for coming and doing it. It's been great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you like this podcast, then please do like, subscribe, and all of that. Then you'll see when the next ones are, and it will push us up higher on the algorithm, stuff like that. Please do go and check out Dryadic. They have all their songs on Spotify. They have Instagram. They have a website, dryadic.com. And yeah, if you would like to be on the podcast, drop me a message and I'll hopefully get you on. So see you guys next time.
Bye.
song. I wanna go home.
That was cool.
I think it was alright.
It's cool. Right? We played that really well.
It's still a head fuck singing and playing fiddle at the same time, whichever way you look at it.